NBA Monday is here, and for today, I got my favorite 3 plays on the board with all the stats, breakdowns, and analysis that you need to know before the games tip off. Now, today's picks are absolute fire, and we are poised for a perfect 3-0 sweep in today's video. But if you guys want all of my very best picks every single day, all you have to do is slide right into my Discord server. Now, not only are we handing out the best picks every single day inside this Discord server, but we're talking strategy. We're sweating out these picks together as a family. So come on, come hang out with me. Come hang out with 200 plus other sports maniacs. And again, you can slide right into our Discord server using the link that we left in the description as well as in the pinned comments of this video. Now, why don't we go ahead and dive right into today's first pick of the day, where we have Jarrett Allen more than 24.5 PRA, points plus rebounds plus assists. Now, when you pop this prop open, you'll see a lot of green on the board to start with. We love to see it. You'll see that Jarrett Allen has actually hit this. He's hit the over on 24.5 PRA in 8 out of his last 10 games, averaging 29.4 per game during that time. So he is almost 5 PRA over. He's averaging almost 5 PRA over the line, which is currently set at 24.5. You zoom out to his last 20, still a lot of green on the board. He's done it in 14 out of his last 20 games. You'll see that he's going up against the Memphis Grizzlies, and that is a good thing when you're targeting the over. The Memphis Grizzlies are a very, very weak defense in pretty much all 3 statistical categories. You see they rank 25th, 26th, and 25th in the NBA in points allowed, rebounds allowed, and assists allowed. They are a bottom 5 defense in all 3 statistical categories. Great sign when you're considering the over on Jarrett Allen's 24.5 PRA. You'll also notice that 4 out of the last 5 centers that have come up against the Memphis Grizzlies have gone over their PRA. So they are struggling a little bit against centers, particularly over the last few games. You take a look at how the public, you take a look at how sharp money is approaching this game, and you are going to see that 74% of bets and 71% of sharp money is on the Cleveland Cavaliers to cover the spread in this game, suggesting a potentially higher scoring environment than we originally expected on the Cavalier side of the basketball. All of that is great news when you're considering the over on Jarrett Allen's 24.5 PRA tonight, 7 o'clock in Memphis against the Grizzlies. Last but not least, and arguably the most important signal, is when you take a look at the market and how the market is approaching this game. PrizePicks has it regularly priced at minus 119, creating quite a advantage if you are going to attack this one on PrizePicks or where I'm playing it, which is Betr. The reason for that is you'll see Sleeper is very confident in this one. They have it priced at minus 137. Fliff is minus 130. Profit X, DraftKings, both at minus 129. Hard Rock at minus 120. Underdog and BetMGM also at minus 120. Very, very confident market, which is typically a strong signal that when most of the market is leaning the over, he's got a pretty good chance to hit. So lots working in favor of Jarrett Allen going over 24.5 PRA. He's been doing it quite frequently over his last 20 games. The matchup is ripe for the picking. The marketplace looks terrific. I am hammering Jarrett Allen over 24.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Next up, we have Mikal Bridges. And I never know if I pronounce that right. It's either Mikal or Mikal. I'm not sure. Mikal Bridges under 20.5 PRA, points plus rebounds plus assists. So we had the fun one with Jarrett Allen going over 24.5, but now we got to root for an under here. I know they're not as fun, but the data points to Mikal Bridges under 20.5 PRA. Now, you pop this one open, once again, you're going to see a lot of green on the board. You'll see he's had 20 or fewer PRA in 8 out of his last 10 games. He's actually averaging 18.0 per game over his last 10. So well under that 20.5 line that we're looking at. You want to zoom out to his last 20? He's done it in 80% of his last 20 games. 20 or fewer PRA in 16 out of his last 20, averaging 17.95 per game during that time. Now, you take a look at his matchup, it's nowhere near as exciting as what we saw with Jarrett Allen, but it's also not particularly terrifying. He is going up against the Atlanta Hawks, who, for the most part, are a pretty mediocre matchup. They're not a great matchup, but they're not a terrifying matchup either. They rank 17th in the NBA in points allowed out of 30 teams, so they're right in the middle. They rank 22nd in the NBA in rebounds allowed, so they do allow a good bit of rebounds. And they rank 15th in the NBA in assists allowed, so mostly a mediocre matchup. They're not particularly terrifying. They're not particularly a strong matchup. In fact, when you look at Mikal Bridges' last 20 games, we mentioned that he has hit the under in 16 out of his last 20, and that includes going up against some defenses that are particularly weak defenses, or at least weaker than the Atlanta Hawks. He went up against he landed under against the Chicago Bulls, who ranked 28th in the NBA, and he landed well under. He landed under 20 or fewer PRA against the Washington Wizards on March 22nd. They are the 29th ranked defense, significantly worse than the Atlanta Hawks. 19 PRA against the Indiana Pacers on March 17th. Again, against the Indiana Pacers, he had 15 PRA, the 25th ranked defense. He did it against the Jazz, 12 PRA, the 30th ranked defense. That was back in early March. You'll see that he's landed under 20.5 PRA against plenty of defenses that are significantly weaker than the Atlanta Hawks. So nothing to fear in terms of the matchup when we're targeting the under on Mikal Bridges, under 20.5 PRA. Last but not least, you want to take a look at the market. And again, this is arguably the most important signal, and you will see that there is tremendous value on the board if you are taking this on PrizePicks, Underdog, or where I am playing, which is Betr, which we'll talk about in a minute. Sleeper is very bullish on this one. Sleeper has Mikal Bridges under 20.5 PRA, priced at minus 141. Profit X minus 132, Fliff 130, Bet Rivers 130, DraftKings 126, The Score 125, Caesars 125, Novig 124, and FanDuel 122. Very, very bullish, very, very confident market that Mikal Bridges is going to land under 20.5 PRA, points plus rebounds plus assists, in tonight's game. So guys, I am taking Jarrett Allen over 24.5 PRA and Mikal Bridges under 20.5 PRA. Now, I personally am taking these two plays over on Betr. And if you're not familiar with Betr, I highly recommend changing that, even if it's just for all the free stuff that they are going to give you just by signing up. So if you use my code, which is BBSMikey, you are going to get $200 in bonus play. You're going to get tonight's free pick. They do a free pick every night for new users if you use my code BBSMikey. And I'm also going to give you 30 days free in my VIP community, which is where I post my very best picks of the day every single day. So you can join Betr using the link that I left for you in the description of today's video. I've also pinned it in the comment section of this video. Use code BBSMikey. You're going to get $200 bonus, a free play, and 30 days free in my VIP community. Now, guys, for my third and final pick of the day, we are taking Paul George over 1.5 steals, specifically on Novig, which I will talk about in just a second. But if you're looking at Paul George over 1.5 steals, there's a lot of reasons to like this one. Now, for starters, once again, you are going to see a lot of green on the board when you look at his last 10. He has 2 or more steals in 9 out of his last 10 games, including 5 out of his last 6 games since he returned from injury. So he's been hot over his last 10. He's actually averaging 2.7 steals per game over his last 10. 1 full steal over the line that we are looking at. You want to zoom out even further, you're going to see that he has gone 2 or more steals in 13 out of his last 16 games, averaging 2.31 steals per game over his last 16. The dude is getting the ball even when he's on defense. It's terrific. Now, you take a look at his matchup, you're going to see that, technically speaking, the San Antonio Spurs do rank number 5 in the NBA in steals allowed. They're top 5. They don't give up the ball all that frequently, except for when it comes to power forwards. They actually rank 20th in the NBA in steals allowed specifically to power forwards, which is where Paul George plays. So tough matchup on the surface, but maybe slightly optimistic when looking at the individual, looking at the positional level for Paul George. I guess the greater point there is it's not something to be as scared of as when you usually see a team that ranks top 5 in the NBA in a category. In fact, you're going to see that 3 out of the last 5 power forwards that have gone against the San Antonio Spurs have gone over their steals prop, some of which are that 1.5 line that Paul George has here in tonight's game. Now, last and certainly not least, arguably the most important signal that we want to take a look at is how the market is playing this one. And here is where things get really, really interesting. You're going to see Underdog is crazy confident, crazy bullish on Paul George going over 1.5 steals, right? Minus 169, which you can see down here. You also have Sleeper at minus 152, Fliff at minus 140, DraftKings at minus 138, FanDuel minus 130. All of these are supremely confident, supremely bullish. And then you get Novig, which, by the way, Novig is by far my most favorite place to play any of this action for a couple of different reasons, really. For starters, when you play on Novig, it doesn't operate the same way that PrizePicks, Underdog, Betr, that those apps do, where you must have 2 or more plays in a lineup in order to submit a lineup. On Novig, you only need 1 play, even if you live in a state where you can't typically play on sportsbooks, because technically Novig is not a sportsbook. So if you really like Paul George over 1.5 steals like I do, just by itself, you can play it just by itself on Novig. In fact, the reason I'm playing it on Novig is right here. You'll see that it's by far the best price on this particular pick. You can't get as good of a price on Paul George over 1.5 steals as you are getting on Novig, who is paying minus 109, basically coin flip payment on something that most other apps and books are pricing as a lock, where you're not going to get a pretty significant payout. And that, by the way, is not outside of the norm for Novig. Novig is routinely among the best priced apps, best priced books on the market. I highly recommend checking out Novig. It's by far my very favorite place to play. I told you guys that I send out my best picks in my Discord server. I usually send out 2 to 5 Novig specific plays every single day. If you use my code BBSMikey, they are also going to hand you $50 when you just spend $5. So heck, even if you played this Paul George one, over 1.5 steals, and you bet $5 on it, and it somehow loses, which it won't, but even if it did, you're still up $45 because they're handing you a $50 bill just to spend $5. Use code BBSMikey. You're going to get $50 when you just spend $5. So guys, to recap, I am going with Jarrett Allen over 24.5 PRA. I am going with Mikal Bridges under 20.5 PRA. I'm playing both of those on Betr. Use code BBSMikey. You're going to get $200 in bonuses plus a free play that you can use tonight. And then I am also taking Paul George over 1.5 steals at minus 109 odds over on Novig, even though I live in Wisconsin, which is a state where you cannot play on sportsbook. So those are the plays today. Use code BBSMikey on both apps. You're going to scoop up plenty of free bonuses. Not to mention 30 days free of my VIP service for every app that you sign up for using code BBSMikey. That is going to do it for today's video, guys. If you liked the content, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. I am going to be back tomorrow with another video. In the meantime, I go live on TikTok every single day if you want to go hang out with me over there. But until then, I will see you guys on the basketball courts. Good luck out there tonight, and let's make some money.